I now understand that I acted in a way that made people feel uncomfortable. It was unintentional, and I truly and deeply apologize for it.
Welcome to Faithcast, a Faith in the Forest ministry. Be sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date on great new content.
Hey everybody, welcome to Faithcast, where we share the truth and love without pushing religion. I want to share something a little bit today. Life is too short to wake up in the morning with regrets. So love the people who treat you right, forgive the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason. That's part of a quote accredited to Dr. Seuss. That's what today is about, is forgiveness. We started out watching Governor Cuomo's apology speech to the people of New York. Now, in the idea of our spiritual lives and sharing the truth and love of faith, there's a couple things to talk about with forgiveness. So really briefly today, I want to look at Governor Cuomo's apology and the idea of forgiveness and where it comes from and how to embrace it. So let's get right into this, because there's two main elements of forgiveness if we look at it from a spiritual aspect and reading into the Bible. The first idea of forgiveness is the forgiveness from within, and that's really what comes from in the Dr. Seuss quote that I just read there, that you need to forgive your enemies so that you're not holding on to the anger, you're not holding on to the grudge, and that you can find healing. Now, the second aspect of forgiveness is to forgive the person who has asked for forgiveness, and they've asked genuinely. If you don't actually ask for forgiveness, and the idea of asking for forgiveness is to not just to try and make things right, because sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't go back in time and make things right, and sometimes no matter what you do isn't going to make it right. But that you repent of the life that you are living and do everything you can to live better. I struggle with Governor Cuomo's apology, and so I'm going to break it down a little bit and we're going to talk about it, not to ridicule or bust him. He's doing that sadly well enough on his own, but to understand how we should be living our lives. How do we rise above the diminished moral standards around us and live as best we can in harmony, and to forgive those who have hurt us, and to properly ask for forgiveness at times when we've hurt others. So the first thing I want to look at is check out the first thing that he says here. It's not the first thing, but it's one of the first things I'm going to talk about in his video when he's asking about forgiveness.
I want New Yorkers to hear from me directly on this.
Okay, notice the first thing he does is asks the people of New York for forgiveness, that he wants them to hear from him personally on this matter. And for me, looking at it in the big scheme of things, takes it away from any idea of asking for forgiveness, and really this is a political play, this is a ploy, this is just politics, pure and simple. This is not an apology. And the reason being is, if you're going to ask for forgiveness, if you truly want for forgiveness, then you need to apologize to the person or the people that you actually did wrong to. So he shouldn't be on the internet, which we all know he loves being on TV. He should be speaking to the young ladies that he wronged. And I'm saying he wronged them because by the end of this apology, he admits to doing wrong, sort of. So as far as it goes with the people of New York, I have family, I have a lot of friends who live in upstate New York, and I'm positive that in the number of things that they would like to see Andrew Cuomo apologize for, his lack of couth in how he interacts with women probably isn't in the top 5 things they would like an apology for. But I digress.
I now understand that I acted in a way that made people feel uncomfortable.
Right. So this is the part in the apology where I'm thinking, all right, Andrew, you were acknowledging you acted in a way that made people feel uncomfortable. And I thought, I mean, this is the beginning part of this apology of his, and I'm thinking, all right, he's going somewhere with this. I'm a little curious because he already says there's an investigation. The lawyers told him not to talk, but he's already spewing this out. And I'm like, yeah, man, he's going to hold up. He's going to be, have a high moral standard. I might actually have an ounce of respect for this guy. And then it just goes downhill from there.
I never touched anyone inappropriately. I never touched anyone inappropriately.
Okay, and so there's where things start to go downhill. He admits, oh, I did things that made people feel uncomfortable, but then goes to the next stage and go, but I didn't do anything that was really inappropriate. I didn't touch anybody inappropriate. Okay, two really quick things about this. One, if you have offended somebody, if you have done wrong to somebody, there are certain aspects that are going to be subjective, and that's just the world we live in today. And there are some things where wrongdoing is very objective. And okay, we can go back to scripture and say, look, you go to your brother, you try to straighten it out. If you guys can't straighten it out because there's subjectiveness to it, then you take it to a higher level and you figure it out objectively. Okay, he's already saying right now, I didn't touch anybody inappropriately. Okay, the accused doesn't get to decide in this sort of subjective atmosphere what is inappropriate. The person whose space is being violated, they're the ones who get to say when it's inappropriate. So that's error number one. Mistake number two is don't say something like this when there's evidence out there of you touching somebody inappropriately as society sees it. This picture that I'm showing right now, this was first on the New York Times and then was shared on The View, of all places. Two of the most liberal media resources possible. Two avenues which you would think would be defending Andrew Cuomo to all extent and all level possible. They're showing this photo. And here's the second thing. The manner, looking at this picture, the manner of how he is touching this young lady. There are only two people on this planet that myself as a man would ever touch in this manner. It would be my wife and my daughter. And even now my daughter's grown. I don't know that I would cup her head like this. When she was younger, in that sort of consoling, caring, parental way, you see moms do it a lot more than dads, but you take the child's head and be, look, it's okay, it's gonna be good. But in public setting like this, I can't ever acknowledge how that's appropriate behavior. So there's his first real hiccup that gets me on the idea of forgiveness. Is he actually asking for forgiveness? And then it goes on a little bit more, and this is the big one I want to talk about. So listen to a few of these things he says.
I never knew at the time I was making anyone feel uncomfortable. I asked the people of this state to wait for the facts from the Attorney General's report before forming an opinion. I have learned from what has been an incredibly difficult situation for me, and I will be the better for this experience.
So here's the part of the video of his apology that really bugs me, because it is such an example of what we see so often in life today. And I remember watching football that two guys would start struggling on the field. And the first one, the guy who would initiate the whole thing, would have this hit, right? And then the guy who would turn to retaliate, that's when the rest would see it, and that's when the flag would be flown. So the guy who retaliated is the one who gets penalized, and yet the actual bully who started the whole thing suddenly gets to become the victim. And that's what we're seeing here, where the bully suddenly gets called out and now proclaims to be the victim because, oh my goodness, we've actually made an example of this, and asking people to be responsible for their actions. And I've talked about this before in other videos and whatnot, that This is one of the things that people really struggle with when it comes to the true teachings of Jesus. Is one of the things he teaches regularly is to accept responsibility for who you are and what you've done, and to lay it before God. I mean, that's the whole idea of forgiveness. And so for the young ladies who have been affected by this entire incident, I pray for each and every one of you. I'd pray that you would find forgiveness in your own hearts for you. That is the idea of forgiveness that Jesus talks about, that you don't let this become part of your life that controls you, that you're able to move on and find the joy and happiness in your lives. And as far as forgiving Andrew Cuomo, you cannot forgive somebody until they have actually asked for it. That is the other tenet of Christianity, that you cannot have forgiveness until you actually ask for forgiveness. And as of this video, I don't see where Andrew Cuomo has actually asked for forgiveness for his actions. Now, what the punishment needs to be beyond that, I don't know, because I don't know specifically what he did. That's not for me to say. I'm not here to judge him in that aspect. I'm just here to say that he talked about apologizing and forgiveness, and it's the one thing that he didn't really do. And I thought a great way to show that in the idea of spirituality and without pushing religion. And I think this is a direction that Faithcast is going to go from now on. At least for right now, we're going to look at current events, what's trending, and see how we can put a spiritual spin on it. There's something positive in everything in the world if we just look at it. And with that, one last thing I ask each and every one of you, as of making this video, I'm really close to the next marker that I'm trying to do for the YouTube channel. Be huge for me if you share this video, click the like button, comment, hey, get a conversation started about forgiveness on the comments below. I'd love that. And as always, if it's in your heart, subscribe, because that has all helped me grow this channel so we can get the word out more. So that's it for this week. Look for new videos coming weekly. With that, all right, take care. God bless.
I'm sorry for whatever pain I caused anyone. I never intended it.